Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and Brad Garlinghouse put out this video yesterday afternoon. It's a must watch. If you've watched it, you're just going to need to fast forward through this video because I got a lot of bombshells at the end of this video anyway.
Hi, I'm Brad Garlinghouse. As many of you know, I don't often make videos like this, but then again, not every week has been like this one. A few days ago, after 2 years, 7 court orders, and over $100 million in legal bills, the Hinman speech documents, including internal SEC emails and comments leading up to this now infamous 2018 speech, they've finally been unsealed. Hinman's speech created new factors to determine if a token becomes sufficiently decentralized to no longer be considered a security. At best, these documents show that senior officials at the SEC couldn't agree on the law and told Bill Hinman directly he would confuse the public.
I'm not going to play the whole video because I got too much good stuff today, but I do want you to hear the end of it because I think the end of it, he's talking a lot like a guy who thinks this thing's over. If I can get it to play. Come on now. Let me do a refresh here. Here we go.
An unelected bureaucrat, I might add, is weaponizing the lack of regulatory clarity to exert jurisdiction over the entire crypto space. This is the definition of putting politics over people. It's the pursuit of power over sound policy. The SEC tried to bully us into acquiescing. Thankfully, we have had the resources to fight back. And now we can all see what they've fought so hard to hide. They knowingly created confusion about the rules, and they used that confusion to regulate through enforcement. That's bad faith, plain and simple. Ultimately, as our lawsuit comes to a close, for so many others, it's just starting. The fight for clarity has to continue. I just want to conclude by saying to my colleagues here at Ripple, to my family, my friends, everyone who has supported us over the past 2.5 years, and certainly to the whole of the XRP Army, a very heartfelt and a very genuine thank you for that support.
That was pretty darn cool. Okay, I'm writing something down for a potential thumbnail. All right, okay. Now, check this out. This is Mark Fagel, who John Deaton did the video with the other day. He's an ex-SEC guy, and he's a fair guy. I've seen some of them act like jerks, but this is not one of them. This guy seems like a nice guy. He says, I try to avoid speculation. The digital asset investor walks right into wild speculation. But my guess is a ruling coming within days. Within days. That's the thumbnail. Thank you, Mark Fagel. And then, wild speculation. Yep. Even if I'm wrong, there's no basis to think the delay is due to anything beyond the complexity of the case. I don't understand the greater confusion point. Ripple is substantially different. Then we've got this from Naveen Gupta, one of those 1-minute things from Ripple.
In a minute, I'll give it a try. Hi, this is Naveen Gupta, and this is Crypto in 1 minute. So I have seen this story played out in the Silicon Valley before. So in the early 2000s, Silicon Valley had great talent, it had VC capital, and it had enabling regulation for the internet boom to take place. And exactly the same thing is being played out here in the UAE, where you have talent from all over the world moving to the UAE. You have the enabling regulation, and you have investment both from the private and the public sources fueling this entrepreneurship. And just look at a very simple use case of remittances. 90% of people who call UAE their home have immigrated from all over the world here, and they send the money back to their families. And through the use of crypto as a bridge, this can be cheaper, faster, better. And remittance is a big use case, which essentially creates a fertile ground for these entrepreneurs to succeed in the Web3 world.
All right, there he goes. He did it in under a minute, I guess. From Gold Telegraph breaking, the world's largest stable coin Tether was once backed by Chinese securities. You don't say. Folks, I've been covering this for a long time now. Ever since ETHgate and then FTX, all roads lead to China. And in this video, now they lead even more to China. Ethereum, first of all, this is from Mr. Huber. Same week Hinman became Director of Corporate Finance. This article was written by Andrew Keys from Consensus, which is Ethereum. Ethereum growing exponentially in China. That's May 8th of 2017 with a China logo. So this guy's proudly putting out the Ethereum logo with a Chinese flag over it. Okay? Then we've got this. From Crypto Cowboy, who is the official cowboy of the Digital Asset Investor channel. He's pointing out that the COO of Promote Ethereum is Joseph Zangri, who's ex-global head of compliance, COO of Bloomberg, as well as senior enforcement attorney at the SEC. All right, then we've got this. This is from John Deaton, talking about the IG referral. The Hinman emails show on June 4th, 2018, Hinman told his colleagues at the SEC he was speaking with Vitalik Buterin before the speech to gain more knowledge about Ethereum. They met on June 8th, but Hinman said this under oath. They said, did you have communications with anyone other than the SEC staff about the substance of your remarks on June 14th, 2018 speech before you gave it? No, not on the substance, and that is totally not true. Part of the reason we need an investigation. Now, Ashley Prosper's pointing something out that's important. Apparently, they just released the transcript from the library case where all because of John Deaton, he went in there and asked the judge to clarify that the library tokens or any tokens in the secondary market are not securities. Okay? Let me see if there's a simple part of this. The judge says, they misunderstood my order as being something different from what it is. Mr. Deaton, right. The court, and I understand why. I use the language of the case law, which is they offered LBC as a security. From that one statement, they construe my order to be saying I think tokens are securities, as John Deaton says. Exactly. Then the judge says, when I'm saying no, I haven't made that determination. That issue hasn't been raised in front of me. No one should understand my order as taking a position on the issue that wasn't briefed. In other words, she's saying, I'm not ruling on secondary market, but she also, right there with those attorneys there, as I recall, made sure everybody understood. I'm not saying secondary market digital assets or securities. Now, John Deaton also put out a reminder and he's actually calling out Becky Quick, Andrew Ross Sorkin, Joe Kernan from Squawk Box, all of them. Listen to yourselves, please. You said this issue was always in your inbox, in your feed. You said you tried to research and looked into it. You've also always presented as conscientious journalists, so I believe that you did look into it. Now, this is that clip. This is the only thing that those people on CNBC have ever asked Jay Clayton about any of this.
Jay, let me ask you about something that it winds up in my Twitter feed constantly. I've tried to look into it and done a little research on it. There's this argument about an action that the SEC brought on your last day as the chair of the SEC.
Anyway, he goes on to say, well, I can't speak on, current investigation, same bullcrap. But they left it at that. It was there was nothing. They've never held this guy accountable. He goes on there as a contributor and they don't ask him anything. Billionaire investor Mark Cuban warns 99% of crypto assets will fail, says winners will be game changers. Winners, that's a thumbnail and a half right there. Winners, game changers. I agree with him. Okay, now, and then we're getting to some real juicy stuff here shortly. Jason Foster, who's the Empower guy, since May 2023, SEC has a new Inspector General, Deborah J. Jeffrey. In other words, Gary put her in place so that she would not investigate them. She is now responsible for deciding whether to investigate our referral from last year in light of the recent unsealed Hinman emails. Okay, and then we've got this. He said, this person says, where's the inspector general? He says, missing in action, which is another thumbnail. Okay, missing in action. All right, that reminds me of Chuck Norris. Wasn't that a movie he was in? And then John Deaton says, take a wild guess what 2 words are the most redacted in the Hinman deposition. I won't say it, nor will I confirm anything, but one word is the name of an individual, and the other most redacted word is the name of a company. My 2 guesses are Lubin and Consensus. Now, why would they want to redact those things? Don't they want to find out who those Ethereum ICO disguised whales are? Can't do that without bringing up those names. Now, folks, I'm not trying to pick on the Prometheum guys, but they put themselves in front of Congress, and they also are the great defenders of Gary Gensler, which is a red flag and a half for me. And for that reason, I decided to go and watch some old videos of the Prometheum CEO, Promote Ethereum is what I say. Promote Ethereum CEO. And remember, folks, I'll show you the clip in a minute. Well, actually, let's show you that. Before I show you the atom bomb, let me show you the clip. This is representative, and I'm sure that this representative is going to want to talk to this guy again after this. This is Blaine Meyer. He is the one that was asking the CEO of Promote Ethereum about his involvement with this company that's apparently a 20% investor in Promote Ethereum, Prothereum. So listen to what he says, and then at the end, I tacked on some words that I found from like a 2019 presentation by the guy. Watch this. See if they sync up for you. Ask yourself, if you were this congressman, would you want to haul him back in front of you and ask him a few more questions? I'd be pissed.
Mr. Kaplan, what percentage of your company is owned by a Chinese entity?
I think approximately 20%.
20% of it. How much influence do they have over your company?
They have the same rights as other shareholders.
How much access do they have to intellectual property?
Wang Zheng has no access to any Prometheum code or technology or system, server, or customer data.
If they're on the board of directors and have access to all your data from the standpoint of being an investor, how do you answer that question like that?
The bylaws were changed in the filing that was filed with the SEC on November 2021, and they basically limit who has access to data, including directors.
Okay, where's the data stored right now?
In the United States.
The third advantage is on the tech side.
Same guy.
Prometheum's
this is him minus the ponytail.
Lead investor and technical co-founder is Shanghai Wanzheng Blockchain. And basically, we have 50 plus blockchain engineers working on the Prometheum project. Shanghai Wanzheng Blockchain is considered the preeminent force when it comes to blockchain engineering talent in the world. And they're really our partner. They're not a third-party service provider. They're a co-founder of this company. Their vice chairman, Dr. Shao, sits on our board, and we work with them hand in hand. And with their expertise, we've been able to rock and roll. And we're going to be demoing for FINRA, we anticipate, next month of our ATS and our blockchain, which we hope will then lead to a quick approval and being live before the end of the year.
Remember, this is the guy who is being put up and is talking about how great, how much sense what Gary Gensler's doing is. Now we have not Sam Bankman-Fried anymore, but Sam Bankman-Fried before he got in trouble and exposed as a fraud. All you had then was Sam Bankman-Fried, Joseph Lubin, and this guy, which we didn't know about at the time. But these are the only 3 people who I can see, have been able to find, who love what the SEC is doing and have been able to go and meet and get things done with them. Come in and see us and actually something happens. They're the only ones. And I want to know, why is the SEC, they are literally going after Coinbase while they allow this to go on, and wait until you see what China is up to and is being allowed to do by the SEC.
The second advantage of what Prometheum has is we have SEC qualified tokens. Now, what does that mean? When you do a Reg A Plus offering, and any sort of public offering in the United States, the SEC either has to qualify or register those securities. And it's a bit of a process. It takes 4 to 6 months. But what that means is it basically opens up all the possibilities to you, because what you allow for is tokens that are available to all investors and free trading on the secondary market once listed on an ATS. And I would argue that that's the holy grail that's necessary in order for the token economy to flourish. Next, let's look at our issuance platform. So on the issuance side, you have a potential issuer, and they basically want to offer a token compliantly under the federal securities and laws in the United States. They fill out a Reg A Plus offering, and they get it qualified by the SEC, which is not, it's weird because qualified essentially is tacit approval of the offering. When the SEC gives its tacit approval, its qualification, that token becomes free trading and available to all investors. And again, that's super important for this economy to flourish. How is Prometheum going to list companies on its ATS? Where are we going to get companies from? A ATS, meaning an exchange, an alternative trading system, which is the equivalent of an exchange, needs an issuer pipeline. You need product by which to list on your platform. The second part of our issuer pipeline, there we go, is Wangzhang-related entities. Prometheum's lead investor and technical co-founder is a company called Wangzhang Shanghai Blockchain, which is probably the largest and most capable blockchain company in the world. And they've invested in a multitude of companies that are part of their network that they anticipate listing on the Prometheum platform to do an issuance and then to list on our secondary market. And what's wonderful there is that the quality of their projects is immaculate. It's a wonderful product pipeline.
Folks, I don't know, I mean, that's, what has happened to this country? And then there's this, here he is explaining Ethereum's always involved, folks. That's the commonality in all this stuff from ETHgate, all this stuff. Ethereum keeps coming up. China keeps coming up. It all leads back to China every single time. Listen to this.
Given that you said you have a tech investor, I didn't quite catch the name. I can't pronounce
Wangzhang?
it. Yeah.
They're the biggest blockchain company in the world.
Is that platform compatible with ERC20 tokens? For example, something that's a token offering outside the US decides to later come to the US, can list on your platform as let's say Ethereum compliant token.
Sure. So from an ERC20 perspective, Prometheum's blockchain is a Ethereum-derived technology called PBFT, and basically that has the cross-compatibility because it's Ethereum-derived.
This guy right here says Prometheum is an SEC Trojan horse. My question is this an SEC China Trojan horse? That's the question. I mean, because look, that guy can say whatever he wants, but he completely misrepresented how important the Chinese owner of his shares was in his company to that congressman. There's no denying that. I mean, then we've got this whack-a-mole right here. Interesting. Biden's DOJ has offered to drop some charges against Sam Bankman-Fried. Will SBF manage to avoid jail time? In One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest land where we live instead of the USA, this would even be a discussion. In any normal, sane world, they would be trying to figure out new charges to add on to what he's done, but not in this world where these people are all compromised. In this world, they want to figure out how to help the bad guys get out of jail because Lord knows what they have on them. That's the fact, Jack. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and somebody explain to me when the freaking good guy, I mean, look, I feel like we're the good guys. We're trying to fight the good fight here. But when are the good guys that are the authorities going to show up and go and put these people in jail where they belong? I'm not saying, and I'm not talking about anybody specifically. I'm just saying there's a lot of bad guys and there's a lot of smoke. And where are the investigations of all of this? Just the China portions, where are the investigations? This cannot be let to stand. Thanks for listening. This is for our children's sake. Thanks for listening.